Level 1, the runner. The call comes at 2:13 a.m. You stare at the phone vibrating on the cracked kitchen table. Unknown number. That's normal now. Unknown numbers mean work. No numbers mean problems. You answer without speaking. A man on the other end says your name. Palm, certain, like he already owns it. You want to make real money, he asks. You say yes before he finishes the sentence. 2 hours later, you're standing outside a mechanic shop on the edge of town. Neon lights buzz above the metal shutters. A pickup truck idles nearby. Inside the truck sits a man everyone calls LTO. He doesn't look at you when you approach. You drive, he asks. Yes. You keep your mouth shut. Yes. You loyal. You hesitate. He finally looks up. You correct yourself. Yes, that's how it starts. No contracts, no paperwork, just a job. Level 1 is simple. You move things, cash, packages, sometimes people. You drive old cars with clean plates. You pick up duffel bags that are already zipped. You deliver them to addresses you're told not to remember. The rules are easy. You don't open packages. You don't ask what's inside. You don't arrive early. You never arrive late. First job pays $800. Second job pays $1,500. Within a month you're clearing $6,000 a week. None of it touches your name. You keep cash in shoe boxes under the bed. It feels temporary, like a phase, like something you'll stop doing once you've saved enough. But money changes things faster than you expect. You start dressing differently. You start driving better cars. People notice. And once people notice, the system notices too. Because level 1 isn't really about work. It's about observation. They're watching how you move, how nervous you are, how greedy you are, how loyal you might be. 3 months in, LTO calls again. This time it isn't about delivering packages. Bring a shovel, he says. You understand immediately. And you still show up. That's when level 1 ends. Not when you take the money. When you prove you won't walk away. Level 2, the washer. The warehouse smells like rust and bleach. A man sits tied to a chair in the center of the room. You recognize him. He used to run deliveries too. The mistake he made isn't explained. It doesn't need to be. LTO stands beside you. You don't touch him, he says. You just watch. Someone else handles the rest. The sounds echo around the empty building. Sure, controlled, efficient. You feel your stomach twist. And something strange happens. After a few minutes, the feeling fades. Not because it's less violent, because your brain starts adjusting. This is level 2. You're not just a runner anymore. You're a witness. Your job is surveillance. Washing warehouses, washing roads, washing people. You sit in parked cars for hours. You memorize routines. Who enters buildings, who leaves them, what time lights turn on, what time lights turn off. Information becomes currency. Every correct observation earns trust. Every mistake costs someone money. And money matters more than anything in this system. You start earning $12,000 a week. Your phone is replaced with encrypted devices. Your car gets swapped regularly. You're told which restaurants are safe, which ones aren't. You learn something important about power here. Violence isn't the real currency. Control is. The cartel doesn't dominate because it's brutal. It dominates because it knows everything. Where the police patrol, which officers accept cash, which judges owe favors. Information flows upward like blood through veins. And slowly, you become part of that bloodstream. You start feeling less like an outsider, more like a piece of the machine. You notice things now. How people lower their voices when certain names are mentioned. How certain doors always open without knocking. How certain men never wait in lines. 6 months later, LTO gives you a different assignment. You'll ride with someone tonight, he says. Just drive. You already know what that means. Driving isn't the job, leaving afterward is. Level 3, the triggers shadow. The first time you hear the gunshot, it sounds smaller than expected. Just a sharp crack, like a firecracker in a parking garage. You keep the engine running. You keep your eyes forward. That's the rule. 2 minutes later, the passenger door opens. A man slides into the seat beside you. His name is Mateo. He doesn't look at you. Go, he says. You drive. No conversation, no celebration, just silence. That's level 3. You're not shooter. Not yet. You're the shadow behind the trigger. Your job is logistics, vehicles, escape routes, timing. Every operation becomes a small military exercise. 2 cars minimum, 3 if it's high profile. Burner phones used once. Weapons delivered separately. Escape paths mapped days in advance. Mistakes at this level are expensive, not financially, existentially. You begin seeing patterns in the violence. Targets aren't random. They're accountants who skim money, drivers who talk to police, managers who started asking questions. Every removal has a purpose. You start understanding something darker. This system isn't chaos, it's maintenance. People are removed the way companies fire employees, quietly, efficiently, necessary for stability. Your weekly earnings climb to $25,000. You buy a house under someone else's name. You stop visiting old friends. You stop answering certain calls. The world outside the cartel begins feeling distant, unimportant. You rationalize it easily. You're not the one pulling the trigger. You're just driving. But every time Mateo exits the car, you know exactly what's about to happen. And you stay, because leaving now would raise questions. And questions are dangerous. A year later, Mateo hands you a pistol. Your turn, he says. Level 3 ends when the gun finally rests in your hands. Level 4, the operator. The room is quiet. Just you and the target. He's younger than expected. Early 20s. Wrong place. Wrong alliances. Your finger rests on the trigger. Your heart doesn't race. That's what surprises you most. It's steady, controlled, professional. You pull the trigger. Just once. Level 4 is where competence begins. You're no longer a shadow. You're an operator. Assignments come directly from higher up now. You travel between cities, sometimes countries. Targets become more valuable, more protected. You learn new tools, silenced pistols, rifles, poisons, car bombs. Every method has advantages. Every method has consequences. Payment increases accordingly. $60,000 for smaller jobs. $150,000 for political targets. Half upfront, half after confirmation. Reputation starts forming around your name. Not publicly. Inside the system, people talk. He's efficient. He doesn't panic. He finishes jobs. Reputation becomes armor, but it also becomes gravity. More work, more expectations, more eyes watching your performance. You stop feeling guilt, not because you're heartless, because guilt becomes impractical. Emotion slows decision-making. Decision-making keeps you alive, so you compartmentalize. Work is work, life is life. Except those lines begin blurring. You check mirrors constantly. You scan every restaurant entrance. You memorize exit routes everywhere you go. Trust disappears, even among allies, because Level 4 introduces a new rule. Hitmen eventually become target. Level 5, the specialist. Your name starts traveling farther than you do. Cartels from other regions request your services, through intermediaries, through coded messages, through men who never give real names. You become a specialist, not just a killer, a solution. High-value targets only. Government witnesses, rival commanders, financial architects, people whose removal shifts entire territories. Jobs become complex operations now. Weeks of surveillance, multiple teams, backup snipers, diversion tactics. You coordinate everything. Money escalates accordingly. $400,000 per contract, sometimes more. You move between luxury hotels under false passports. Your wardrobe looks expensive. Your bank accounts don't exist. You stop recognizing the person you used to be. Level 1 feels like another lifetime. Back then, you were replaceable. Now you're valuable. But value inside this system creates a paradox. The more important you become, the more dangerous your existence becomes. Because specialists know too much. You know routes. You know safe houses. You know who ordered what. You know which politicians accept envelopes. And knowledge is heavier than violence. So protection increases. 2 guards at all times. Armored vehicles. Encrypted communications only. But deep down you understand something. Protection isn't loyalty. It's containment. You're too useful to eliminate. Now. Level 6, the commander. You stop pulling triggers. Not because you can't, because you don't need to anymore. Level 6 changes the game. You run teams now, 5 shooters, 3 drivers, 2 surveillance experts, 1 communications handler, 10 people whose survival depends on your planning. Assignments arrive from the cartel's inner circle. You design operations, choose methods, allocate resources. You decide who lives. You decide who dies. The power feels different, heavier, less adrenaline, more calculation. You spend hours studying satellite maps, street patterns, police rotations. Every operation becomes a puzzle, and every piece must fit perfectly, because failure now costs millions, sometimes territories, sometimes wars. Your income becomes abstract. $2 million transfers through shell companies annually. You own properties you've never visited, bike clubs, warehouses, apartment buildings, legitimate fronts. But wealth doesn't equal freedom. You travel with convoys. You sleep in different locations every night. You eat meals prepared by people who taste them first. Because commanders are strategic targets. Rivals want your knowledge. Your allies fear your ambition. You exist in a narrow space between usefulness and threat. And that space gets smaller every year. Level 7, the ghost people stop seeing you. That's intentional. You disappear from operations entirely. Orders move through layers now. Commander right arrow, lieutenant right arrow, team leader right arrow, shooter. Your name rarely appears. Your face appears even less. You become something else. A ghost in the structure. Your role shifts toward architecture. Designing systems, supply routes, money laundering networks, recruitment pipelines. You build the machine rather than operate it. Entire regions run according to structures you design. You see violence like a chessboard now. Remove one player, control 3 cities, bribe one official, secure a border crossing. Everything connects. But isolation grows, friends vanish, family becomes a liability, romantic relationships become impossible. Anyone close to you becomes leverage, so you cut ties preemptively. The loneliness arrives quietly, at night. Empty penthouses, insecure compounds surrounded by guards who barely speak. You realize something strange. You have absolute power inside this system, and absolutely no life outside it. Level 8, the legend years pass. Your name becomes myth. New recruits hear stories about you. They argue about whether you even exist. Some say you died years ago. Some say you run everything. The truth is quieter. You live in a coastal compound surrounded by concrete walls and ocean wind. No social media, no public records, no official identity, just layers of security and silence. You rarely give orders anymore. The machine runs itself. Structures you built years ago still function perfectly. Routes, payments, recruitment, violence flows like an automated system. You watch reports arrive every morning, encrypted files summarizing events across entire regions, seizures, arrests, deaths, profits, numbers. Everything becomes numbers eventually. The strange thing about reaching the top is how small everything starts to feel. All the danger, all the ambition, all blood. It still runs like clockwork without you. That's when you understand the final rule of the system. No one is truly irreplaceable. Not even you. You sit on the balcony overlooking the ocean. Air drifting across the compound walls. Somewhere far away, in a cheap apartment with a cracked kitchen table, a phone vibrates at 2:13 a.m. A young man stares at the unknown number. He answers. A voice asks if he wants to make real money. He says yes. He thinks he understands the opportunity. He doesn't, but he will.